a living where we share universal good through love. And normally we would light a candle, but I can't do it because of the oxygen. But just imagine a 2-wick candle. First wick we light represents God or spirit, all that there is. And then the second one represents us as community. And they're all both in the same container. So just think of that as, that we're together always. So, and it's very important. So, anyways, John's going to give us well, maybe not. John, Brett, go ahead and do an opening song. Yeah, I know you may not be able to hear the music, but we'll hear your voice at least.
We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know if do you want to share and sing along? That might help.
Okay, sure.
We'll all sing it together and see. Yeah, maybe we don't need a guitar. All right, here we go. No, joy in the afternoon. Says, can you still hear me? It says Zoom quit unexpectedly. Oh, gosh.
The words just came through.
Again soon when a happy joy is now. Joy is wonderful. Relationships, joy and love, joy. Joy. Beautiful. Joy in getting done. Joy to be well. And have.
Okay, John, I don't even hear you now. Maybe if you're just talking, can you talk to me a minute? Can you say something, John, so we can at least see if we can hear you at all? It just kind of stopped in the middle. So, hello, John, you're on mute. So if you're trying to say something, well, I don't see you saying something, but can you hear us? Hello, John. All right. Well, John, I'm going to go ahead and do Science of Mind 365. For some reason, I can't even hear you at all now.
I just.
Oh, no, I got you again.
All right. Did you hear the song? I mean,
No, it would go in and out on the song.
Zoom turned off and turned back on again. It's a brand new computer. Why is it?
When it turned off, I think it's when you lost that's when we lost the words. But I don't know.
It's bizarrely acting in many different ways. I don't understand.
Right. Okay. Well, anyways, we'll keep going. I want to today we have Michelle Giffen, who is going to be talking to us about the Brahma Kumaris, which is we were looking at different we wanted to talk to different people about different kinds of um, what is the word I'm looking for? Uh, Ministries. That's what I'm looking for. And, the Brahma Kumaris are quite interesting and very good. And anyway, so she's going to be our speaker today. I'm going to go ahead and do Science of Mind 365. And for today, it says, I enjoy the companionship of God, and I will pray the Father and He shall give you another comforter, that He may abide with you forever. John 14:16. So communion with the Helms goes on to say, communion with the Spirit is one of the greatest privileges of life. By communion with God, we do not mean telling the infinite what to do or how to do it, for that is talking at God rather than communing with God. By communion, we mean silently entering into divine harmony and beauty until we feel the harmony and the beauty in our souls, in our own mind. For instance, if you find yourself distraught and mentally upset, and you follow the simple practice of communing with peace, you will find that peace enters into you. You do this by dropping all confusion from your mind and thinking about peace, by dwelling on this meaning and feeling that you are breathing into it yourself until it floods your whole being with harmony. This is real communion, not telling peace what it ought to do or be, but entering into its spirit silently, quietly, and alone. And so it is with love or joy or any other attribute of the divine. We must commune by listening and feeling this presence until the presence is real to us. This is the very essence of communion. God is my companion. It is impossible for me to be lonely or alone, for whether I go to the one presence will accompany me. I have an infinite companion who goes with me wherever I go. I have partnership with the infinite that is steady and strong and certain. This same presence I feel is everything else, the one companion of it all. I am guided by this presence. I am guarded by it. I am kept in the shadow of its strength. I am fled by the bounty of its love. I am guided by its wisdom. This presence is closer to me than my breath, nearer to me than my hands and feet. Therefore, I have a sense of alone. I have no sense of aloneness, no feeling of isolation, because all the presence there is my companion. In this companionship, there is love and beauty, and there is peace and joy. There's happiness and success today and forever. Okay, so that was Science of Mind 365, and normally John will do a song. So do we want to try, John? You're muted, so we can't hear anything. You need to unmute. Okay. Can't hear the music.
All right, how about this?
No.
Yeah, okay. That was raw.
Yeah. So,
I
all right. Well, we can just go into a meditation. So let's just sit back, take in a deep breath, release and relax, and just let go. Let's take in another deep breath. And as we release and relax, just allow the chair to support us. And one more great big breath in. And this time release every tension in your body, allowing peace and love to enter And as that peace and love enters our body, we also recognize spirit, God, mind, the creator, the all that is peace, love, joy, power, beauty, wisdom, life, light, and love. And because God is all there is, created all there is, including our world, including us, including this universe, and everything has been created through spirit, whether it be a blade of grass, a mountain, a horse, a dog, a cat, a grasshopper, a bird, an ocean, whatever it is, the grains of sand. Spirit created all that. And because Spirit created all of that, we are one with all that Spirit is, because we are created by Spirit, in Spirit, as Spirit, through Spirit. It is in us, through us, as us. It is everywhere present within us, right here, right now. And knowing this, I know that I now claim that we are a part of Spirit. We are one with Spirit. We are one with all that is. And so I speak my word today for Summit Center for Spiritual Living, for a good service, for Michelle as our speaker today, that her words are Spirit's words coming through her, that the music for John, and that we can't hear, now all of a sudden we can hear, and that everything goes well with that. I know for the people who can't be here, Michael, Kyle, Carol Ann may be here, but she's she's running later. She's not on there. She is. Wait a minute. She is, and there's Carol Ann, and then there's Deb. We just know that everybody is here present in every way, that we are very, whether they're here or not, we are very happy to know that they are here. So, and those who we can't see, that see our service later or are just joining us on Facebook. So as I continue to know that this is a good service and that the problems with the music isn't solved, that I also claim for each and every person health and vitality, wholeness, completeness, prosperity, abundance, right relationships, right reactions, right loving. And what I mean by right loving is just being a place of love and of a part of Spirit. I know that as with our the, the, our government and the things that have been happening, and the attempted assassination, and for the families of the other people that were either killed or injured, that they are being taken care of in a very special way, that peace and comfort is being filled in their presence. Peace, comfort, harmony. I also know that as we go through this political season, this time of year, that it is done here in the United States, it becomes a place of peace, place of love, and that any divisiveness between parties or people, that it just now goes away. It goes away, it goes back into the nothingness from where it came. It is no longer needed. It is no longer necessary. It is not needed. And it is replaced with peace, love, hope, prosperity, harmony, abundance, joy. And I am just grateful and thankful that this can happen and does happen just by my speaking my word. I know that each and every person is being filled with peace and love and harmony, whether it's here in the United States or it's around the world. I speak for all people of the world that peace and love and harmony and divine right action is happening this very moment. So I give thanks. I give thanks for all the good in our lives. I give thanks for the fact that we're here in the United States. I give thanks for the loving people around us. I give thanks for each and every person that does come from a place of love each and every day. I give thanks for all the good. And so I now release my word into the law, knowing that I have spoken it, and so it is. Amen. Okay. All right. Well, please open if you can. If you can, you may not be able to, but if you can open your camera and just look into the camera and just see that magnificent person, that wonderful spirit, that soul that you can see inside that camera. There she is. There's Carolyn. And to see that wonderful face and the beauty of that spirit. And Hannah and the other people aren't here, Carol Ann. So Deb might be, but she's never on camera anyways. But I am now going to turn this over to Michelle, and she's going to talk to us about her ministry, which is the Brahma Kumaris. So, okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Diana. So, yeah, as I was listening to meditation and Ernest Holmes talking about God, I felt such a resonance. I mean, there's so many similarities. Raj Yoga meditation is defined as a meditation. Raj represents God, the Supreme, and yoga represents union. So when you put those together, Raj Yoga is a meditation which involves union with the Supreme, becoming one with the Supreme, which you beautifully depicted that in the Ernest Holmes recitation of how we are spirit, and this is the teaching of Raj Yoga, that we are souls. They use the word soul, and that we are made in the image and likeness of God, all the qualities of God that we know to be true: peace and love, purity, power, balance, truth. All of these qualities are the original qualities of the soul. And in this regard, we're the same as God. But in the Brahma Kumaris, they make a distinction because they have a concept of different realms of different dimensions. And souls come into the corporeal realm or the physical dimension. And God does not. That God, as depicted by the Brahma Kumaris, lives in another dimension, which we call the soul world, which is a dimension of pure light. And because in that dimension there is no change, God retains all of his perfect qualities. And this is why when we connect to God, we're connecting to the perfection, the power, the purity, and all the qualities of love and peace and joy, which are the highest vibration. And souls, on the other hand, come into the physical realm. And the nature of this realm of being is that there's change, and there's also what we call the law of entropy, where everything new eventually becomes old. So if you buy a new couch, in 10 years, it's not going to look the same way. And the same with the soul, and the same with, the earth itself, that in its original state, it started out very pure, and it sort of harkens back to the Christian concept of the Garden of Eden, where everything is beautiful and pure. There's love, there's peace, there's harmony, even among the animals and nature, everything is unified. And then over time, there's a loss of this integrity or this power, and things start to lose their purity, lose their integrity, and they start to break down. And so this is what happens in the process of, according to the Brahma Kumaris, this is what happens in the process of the soul going on its journey of incarnating in different bodies over time. That it starts out very pure, and then over time it loses its power, and the qualities, the innate qualities, which are always there, are accompanied by these acquired qualities, which we get through our experience in the earth realm, which have to do more with lack and limitation and competition and fear and all of these things. So these qualities exist side by side. And so the idea with Raj Yoga is to what they call purify the soul, which basically is to amplify our original qualities by connection to God, and at the same time minimize or eliminate these acquired qualities, which are not innate to the soul. Fear and judgment and competition, all these things are not innate to the soul. They were acquired through our presence in the earth plane. And so this process of meditation, of Raj Yoga, is the soul. First, we have to recognize that we are beings of light. So the definition of a soul is that we're light, that we are made in the image and likeness of God. We're essentially joyful, peaceful, loving, pure, powerful beings. And through this connection with the Supreme, we increase all of those qualities. We enliven those qualities. We energize those qualities and disempower the acquired qualities that came from our presence on the earth. So this is basically a journey of remembrance of who we are. First of all, remembering that we're souls, because that was the one huge loss of being in this physical realm, is we've forgotten who we are. We so much identify with our bodies and with our limitation that we've forgotten that we're powerful. And rather than identifying with our power, we're identifying with our weakness. And so in this process of, this union with God, we strengthen the original qualities of the soul, and the acquired qualities of the soul become less and less. They become weaker and weaker. So there's a very interesting history to the Brahma Kumaris, and it's actually a relatively new teaching. It's only been around since the 1930s, late 1930s. And it came through an instrument who was very ordinary in many ways, but very elevated in many other ways. And his name was Dadi Lapraj. He was from India. And this is where the Brahma Kumaris originated, in India. And its initial span of about 30 years was exclusively in India. It hadn't spread to any other part of the world. Well, now it's all over the world. It's in 80 countries, and there's hundreds of centers all over the place. But initially it started with this one very fine, moral, upstanding, decent man, but who was just an ordinary man. He wasn't a guru or a spiritual pundit or anything like that. He was happened to be a jewel merchant, and he sold diamonds. And he himself had been on a spiritual journey for many, many years, decades. And he had been a seeker. He was seeking truth. And he had had many gurus, and he used to host these big events at his home where these gurus would speak and give their knowledge. And he kept leaving one guru after another because there was a sense that something was not quite right, that there was impurity, or the guy was false in some way. And over time, he had 8 or 9 gurus, and he kept on searching because none of it felt right. And he was in his home, and he was having one of these sessions, and he got up in the middle of the session and walked away, which was unheard of because he was a very polite man. He would never normally do that. And one of his attendees followed him into the other room and could see that he was having this experience. He was completely surrounded by light. And this voice was speaking through him, saying, I am the incorporeal one. I am the blissful one, things like that. And he had awareness of what he was saying, but it wasn't him speaking. It was a different voice. And there was this energy around him, this light around him, which wasn't normally present. And this was the beginning of his adopting, of his actually eventually becoming the instrument for the Brahma Kumaris. And very gradually, and he didn't even know what was going on at the time. Things would come through him. He would write it down. He would ask, he would, journal with himself and try to understand what was this being that was coming through him. And he began to realize, and he came to this on his own, that this was the supreme being that was speaking through him. And he very naturally attracted followers. It was because they could see that there was this incredible power around him, and that there was this knowledge that was coming through him was very, very pure and very good and very uplifting. And so he started gathering these people around him. And interestingly enough, one of the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, which was pretty interesting at that time, is that, one of the things that the Brahma Kumaris did, which was unheard of, was they put the women in front. So this is a culture, remember, India is a culture where it's male dominated. Men are considered gods. Women are considered second-class servants, second-class citizens. They have no voice. They don't eat with their husbands. They're considered possessions of the men. And in the Brahma Kumari teaching, the women were put at the head of the organization. And this was in a society where the men were God. So there was a lot of reaction among the population. There was a lot of rejection of the teaching. And there was a lot of punishment, for people who embraced it, the women and the men, but particularly the women that would go to where Brahma Baba was teaching. Oftentimes they would get beaten, they would get mistreated, because the teaching was considered very radical and was pretty much persecuted at the time that it came out. But over time, the knowledge became more accepted, and it even many men joined the Brahma Kumaris, but their role in the Brahma Kumaris was different from the women, but they also had a very preeminent role. But very gradually, the teaching spread, and Brahma Baba moved to the place where is considered our spiritual center right now, which is in Mount Abu. It's in Rajasthan in India. And he started his teaching. He would have teachings from there. And gradually, more and more people started coming, more and more people recognized and accepted the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris. And it very much elevated the role of women in India, and not only elevated their role, but elevated their self-concept. They began to think of themselves as worthy and as being able to be leaders. And the men became more humble as a result of the teaching, because they had to serve in a lesser capacity. So it had the effect of really balancing the self-concept of people at that time in India, and increasing recognition of the value of women. So this was something that really attracted me when I first thought about the Brahma Kumaris. I really felt a resonance to this, the way that they did something that was so unconventional, that and so lacking in any self-serving quality to it, that it came from such a pure place of balancing the consciousness of both men and women. So Brahma Baba left the body after about 30 years, and then another instrument was designated, Dadi Gulzar, and this was a woman, and she became the instrument, and the knowledge that came through her. So the knowledge that came through was pretty much on a daily basis, and the knowledge that came through was the substance of the Raj Yoga teaching. So all the knowledge that came through over the years became the foundation of what we call the Raj Yoga course. And it's a teaching about God as being the supreme being and all the qualities of God, the soul, the qualities of the soul, how we lost our power. There's teachings about, there's a concept of a cycle of where there's a beginning, an end. Well, there's no end because cycles are eternal, infinite. They keep going around and round. But where everything starts out pure and then starts to lose its purity due to the law of entropy, and then God comes at the end and purifies everything to raise it back up again, so that all of life becomes once again its most elevated. And so the reason that God came at this time is because we're at that point in the cycle where there's a cleansing, there's a purification that is needed in order for the new age to come. And it's interesting, they don't call it the new age here, but I think there are other teachings that have emerged that are very similar in that regard. You know, this idea of we're at a threshold right now. They call it the confluence age in the Brahma Kumaris, but that we're at a threshold where there's going to be some very, very big change. And we're going from a very dark time to a very light time. And the thing that's so amazing is that we go from the darkest time to the most beautiful time in a very short period of time, you know, according to this teaching. And that the reason for that is that you know, God intervenes and enables the souls to become purified, the earth to become purified, and this new world to become established. And this is why, you know, according to the Brahma Kumaris, the Supreme Being comes down at this time, because this is the time which every cycle, so Supreme Being comes down to purify, re-energize, to uplift, in order for the new world to be created. They often compare it to seasons. When you think about the seasons of nature, where you'll have spring and you'll have summer, and then you'll have fall and you'll have winter. And each season, spring is renewal, and then summer is growth, and then fall is the beginning of waning. Winter, there's death, and then the very next season after winter is spring, which is renewal. And you can see these cycles in nature, you know, planets moving around the sun, and there are many cycles that work in this way. And it relates to this law of entropy that is a natural law and can be seen in many aspects of life. So the basic practice of the Brahma Kumaris is meditation. And the way meditation is defined for the Brahma Kumaris is, first of all, recognizing who we are as souls, that we are beings of light, that we come from another dimension to play our parts in this corporeal realm. And we are simply playing our parts. It's like the actor in a play. At the end of the play, you take off your costume and you go back home and you're your true self. The actor in the play doesn't think that they're that person in the play. They know who they are. They know that they're the actor. So when they take the costume off, they become who they really are. But in our case, we've forgotten who we really are. We think we're the costume. We think we're the body. We think we're all of the limitations and desires and weaknesses that are contained in the body. And we've forgotten our perfection. We've forgotten our true beauty. And everyone has forgotten. So there's no one here to remind us, because this is the end times. And everyone is impure. Everyone is affected by falsehood in some way. There's no one here that is really equipped to give us the truth. And so this is why the Supreme Being comes down at this time and shares this knowledge. And, you know, one of the reasons that I was attracted to this, you know, at the time that I affiliated with the BKs, I was really feeling a need for a regular discipline, like a daily practice, and something that kind of held me to that daily practice, because I had been on this journey of, seeking for so many years, and I felt like I wasn't rooted, like I was bouncing around from one thing to the other, and I didn't have something that enabled me to really grow spiritually in a very consistent way. I think I was growing spiritually, but I think it was very inconsistent. And so I was attracted to the Brahma Kumaris, which it was really kind of synchronistic because Christina, who was here for a very short period of time, she introduced me to the Brahma Kumaris. Otherwise, there was absolutely no presence of the Brahma Kumaris in Akron at all up until that point. And she was here, during that time when I first got involved. And so she gave me the 7-day course, which is where we learn some of the things that I'm mentioning now, but a lot more. It's like each day of the course is 2 hours. And then there's 7 days of that. So there's like 14 hours of knowledge that basically has come through over the many years, sort of made compact, into a course. So every day we get what we call a Murli, which is this knowledge that has come through the Supreme, first through Brahma Baba, and then later through Dadi Bolsar. And all of this knowledge was compacted into this 7-day course. So the knowledge as it comes through on a daily basis, and this is called the Murli, and all the Brahma Kumaris listen to the Murli every day. So that's one of the disciplines. We listen to the Murli. And then there's also like a slogan and a blessing. There's a essence. So you derive what you think is really speaks to your heart that day in the Murli, and then you practice that all day long. And then the other main thing is that you practice soul consciousness. I mean, this is the main practice, is to recognize that I am a being of light. I'm sitting in the center of the forehead. I'm the one who is the life force, the energy, which is enabling this body to move, enabling this brain to think, enabling me to be alive. Because when the soul leaves the body ceases to exist. It's dead. So the whole direction of this teaching is soul consciousness, to recognize who I am. It's sort of like being put right side up again. Like we're upside down, we think we're the body, we're not. And this teaching puts us right side up, where we realize who we really are. And in realizing who we really are, we realize our power. In identifying the body, we're disempowered. In identifying with the body, we're disempowered, because the body is limited. The body will eventually die. The body is controlled by vices and passions and things like that. And if we're identifying with that, then we're identifying with a very, very limited concept. And so expanding this concept of who I am and recognizing that it's the truth. And this is an ongoing practice. It's a daily practice, because we remember and we forget. We remember and we forget. And so the practice is all about remembering. The Murli reinforces that reminder. And people who are practicing, who are BKs, are usually listening to the Murli on a daily basis. Either now it's on Zoom, because we're all spread out. In some places they go to classes, like in India, they have 1 million centers. So people will go to the centers. In big cities, they also have centers like, Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, places like that, where there are huge populations. They have centers, and that's ideal. You can actually be together, and then you can have discussions and really what they call churn the knowledge, digest it and think about it and make it your own. So that's ideal. But so the practice is read the Murli, churn the Murli if you can, think of a point that is meaningful and that you will practice. For me, it's got to be simple, because I forget. If I don't keep it simple, I'll forget it. And then to practice it throughout the day. And then they also have a practice that they call traffic control, which if you go to any of the centers, they'll usually have music, they'll play music, and that is your sign to completely stop whatever you're doing, to turn within, to connect, remember you're a soul, connect to the Supreme. And this usually lasts a few minutes, and it happens several times a day. So the idea is to make this practice so much a part of your everyday life that you begin to see yourself as a soul and see everyone else as a soul, to see their infinite beauty, to see your infinite beauty, and to live from that place. And so the traffic control helps to kind of connect the morning meditation, evening meditation in sort of a seamless way. So this is ideal. How many of us actually do that? You know, we usually do it when we're at a conference or something like that. But in everyday life, I did it when I first became a BK, but in all honesty, I don't do it so much anymore. I forget to do it. But the main thing that keeps me in the knowledge is always listen to the Murli. I always go to morning meditation, and that at least keeps me, keeps the foundation strong. The other aspect of the Brahma Kumaris, which and there are many things that are prescribed in the Murlis, which are supposed to support soul consciousness, basically, and remembrance of God. So everything is designed to support that. So the diet is vegetarian, and it also, has, implies a respect for life itself, that we're, not killing other beings in order to satisfy our own bodily needs. So that's one of the prescriptions of the Brahma Kumaris. And I talked about traffic control and the daily teaching. And then they have, different gatherings of events where the Brahma Kumaris will get together and have speakers that come from different parts of the world that will share their knowledge in a new way. Over the years, so many teachers have churned the knowledge and gotten so many different ways of looking at the knowledge as a result of just thinking about it in fresh ways. And when it came into the United States, it moved out of India, it took that kind of a spin where it was able to appeal more to Westerners and Western way of thinking. Because a lot of the original Murlis had very Indian references, which the Murlis later, when it expanded outward, didn't have that so much. So I think I've probably spoken a long time. So I think I'm gonna stop there. But that kind of gives you a flavor for it. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. I really, there really is so much that's similar.
Yeah.
And the fact that realizing that we are made from spirit. We are made in the likeness of spirit, and that we have to get back to that. And when we realize that, whether it's through science of mind, through whatever, it's just better for the individual. It's better for the planet. It's better for the world. And I really like the information of how it became, and that the women are a key part, which is a nice thing. So, but thank you. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
John, I know you want to have something to say, but you got to unmute.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate the teaching. I went through a period of teaching with Michelle several years ago to learn more about it. And I've studied, religions of all over the world, but yeah, it's a very beautiful teaching and quite comprehensive, and
Mhm.
definitely think we're on the verge of this transformation, and we should give it attention and probably all attuned to the greater consciousness, what I call creative awareness, multiple
Mhm.
times a day as we proceed through our day.
Yeah.
All right. And unless there's anybody else who has a question or a comment, thank you so much. Normally John would go ahead and sing a song, but
We'll give it
I-
one more
yeah,
stroke.
let's give it a shot, see what
Push
happens.
some other button here. I don't know. Maybe Tim could put a song out for us
I don't know.
off the cuff,
That's so weird that I can hear your voice very clearly now, but I don't understand why your instrument wouldn't come through. Makes no sense.
It still doesn't come through.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna have to contact Zoom and get help, I
yeah,
guess.
so it's just unusual. But anyway, so well, we know that we have heard a beautiful song. Think of your favorite beautiful song, um, so with that, since we would go to the opportunity to give. So if you would like to give to Summit Center for Spiritual Living, you can do that by going to Zelle, and you would go to ssc of Akron at gmail.com, ssc of Akron at gmail.com, and you can give that way, or you can send a check with the word Summit or Summit Center or Summit Spiritual Center on it, and you would send it to 1199 Lexington Avenue, Akron, Ohio 44310. So we're going to take our symbolically, or actually take our ties, our giving in our hand, right top over left. And I just know that all that we have, all that we give, all that we receive is blessed in a very special way, and that it is returned to the person 10 times or more, but it also goes out to the work of Summit Spiritual Center and to making the world a better place in general. So it is. Amen. Okay. So good, more good is mine, and ever increasing good is mine. There is no limit to good which is mine. Everywhere I go, I see good, I feel it, I experience it, it crowds itself against me, it flows to me, it multiplies itself around me. I am worthy of and entitled to more good. I give myself permission to accept and express more good. Thank you, Spirit, and so it is. Okay. Normally we do announcements. Michael would say, see him on New Thought Media, um, uh, newthoughtmedia.com. You can see it there, or you can um, see him. He's going to a conference. He's going to a conference today, so that's why he's not here. But you can see him on there. Look on our Facebook page for the different things he does. Um, and then, John, do you have any announcements?
Yeswise.com, particularly the tab for Yeswise Inspiry. Put up
Okay.
a weekly little meditator, a little inspiring message, I guess we'll call it.
All right. And Michelle, any announcements on your end?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Okay. So with that, it is time to do a moment of silence. And I am going to ring my bell. And when I do that, we'll go into a moment of silence. And I want you to bring into mind an individual or individuals or the world that needs healing. And just know that that healing is happening right now, this moment, and Spirit is right in the midst of it, taking care of it. Then I'll bring when it's done. So the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And thank you. And Hannah, you can end our Facebook feed, and now we can just talk for anybody who wants to talk. So we'll let Hannah get that ended. I'm sure she's going to be coming on here in a second. Tim, hello. How are you?
Good. Sorry to drop you.
Hey, that's okay. It's been one of those days, so it's all perfect no matter what. So all right. And then
Oh, I wanted to share one other thing that I forgot to mention, which is really kind of central to BK teaching, is this idea of healing. And every morning and evening, we send energy out to heal the planet. And also there's one day a month that's exclusively dedicated to that. And it's they call it World Peace Meditation Hour, which is the third Thursday of the month, I believe. And everybody around the world is sending healing energy to the world at that particular time. So I just wanted to share that, because that really is very fundamental to the BK teaching.
it's wonderful. I really like that.
Mhm.
Is that at a certain time on Thursday?
Yeah. The reason is that, in different time zones, they'll be doing it at different times. And so it's almost like the energy just kind of circulates the planet because of all the time zones doing it at the same time, but at different times. So, yeah. So it's the same time for everyone, but in the different time zones, it would be different times.
So somebody's doing it in the middle of the night then.
For
Yeah.
us, the middle of the night. For them, it would be the same time. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
everybody does it from 6:30 to 7:30 their time. It would be their time. So yeah, it's the same time. It's just that it's in different parts of the world that they're doing it at that time.
So and it's 6:30 to 7:30 from on the third Sunday.
No, it's the
Or third Thursday. I mean,
Yeah.
wonderful. Something to keep in mind. All
Mhm.
right. And
Are you saying that everyone does it at 6:30 their time, so that it's always going on throughout the day somewhere?
Right. Everybody's doing it at 6:30 their time.
Okay.
so time zones that goes all around the world. That's kind of cool. That is neat. Takes more than 24 hours too, sometimes. Because some people are ahead and some are behind. Yeah, it's interesting. So
And we usually have a Sakash list when we do our Merli class. And Sakash is that healing energy, sending that healing energy. And so we'll put on the Sakash list those who we feel need healing, much like what you do here. And then everybody, when they do their meditation, will send that healing energy out to the people that are on that list. So it's very oriented towards lifting people up and giving them power in whatever way possible.
right. Okay, so I forgot to mention that next week I'll be the speaker, and Tim will be doing music, and
Hopefully his Zoom works.
and then the week after that it'll be John as the speaker, and the week after that is going to be Deb Haley. Like I said, you don't ever see her, but she's there watching, and she's part of it every Sunday, so. Yeah,
Here, I'll just play a single chord and experiment here. And is it,
okay.
is the problem your computer or what?
We don't know.
It's not.
No, you're not. You're supposed to end it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's